Alright folks, here we go. Now we get to the fun stuff. This entire lesson is based on solving exponential and logarithmic equations. Now, we have many different types of equations that you could run into, and so this is an extremely long set of notes. There's going to be quite a few videos to go along with them. A lot of them are just going to be me demonstrating sample problems. You can watch them in a faster speed. I'll even speed up some of the work through the video editing as well. In the prior lesson you learned about the properties of logarithms, and you previously knew about the properties of exponents, and you should also know all of the ways to rewrite from logarithmic to exponent and exponent to logarithmic. All of these different techniques and skills and properties that you've learned are going to become extremely important in your equations that you're going to solve. Now, generally speaking, on the more basic level, so what we've got here are 4 possible types of problems that you're going to see. And so I'm going to say that these are going to be more of the basic variety, not your more difficult problems. So you can see basically an exponential equation where both sides of the equation have an exponent with the same base, or they both have a base that can be created equal. Your second exponential type equation is where you have an exponential on one side but not the other, and so you would need to convert this to a log. Then you have logarithmic equations. Again, you can have a logarithmic equation with the same base on each side, or you can have a logarithmic equation where you only have one log on one side and not the other, and you would need to change it to exponential. Now, we've got a concept box here to kind of give you a thinking strategy of what you should look for first, based off what you're given, and then what to do after that. This will be a good resource, good reference for you, but eventually you'll just kind of start to see problems and understand what to do based off what's given to you. So let's take a look at a couple problems here. We're going to start with exponent on each side. So basically we have an exponential equaling to an exponential here. What we want to do is we want to create a situation where they have the same base if they don't already have the same base. And when we do this, we're going to use something called the one-to-one property. So if we look here at example number 1, we have 4 raised to 3x power and 8 raised to the x plus 1. 2 exponential expressions being equal to each other, but they don't have the same base yet. So what we're going to actually do is we're going to rewrite this as a power of a power type property, and so that they would both end up with the exact same base of 2. Now you can see the one-to-one property says if we have an equation where the bases of the exponentials are equal to each other, we can just simply say that the exponential part is equal to each other, and that's where we get 6x equals 3x plus 3. And then we can just simply solve for x there. So go ahead and try sample problem number 1 real quick, and then come back and take a look at the solution. Okay, and you can see here we have x equals to 5 using the one-to-one property. Alright, let's move on to the second example here. In this second example, we now have an exponent equaling to just a number. So we don't have 2 exponential parts here. So this is where we're going to use the skill of rewriting an exponential to a log. Now technically, you can use a property that recognizes that if we raise both sides to the same log value, we can go that route. But you know from a previous lesson that if we want to rewrite this as a log, the log and the exponential are going to have the same base, and we're just going to use this little circular skill to kind of rewrite this. So whether you use it based off of the way example 2 does it, or if you just do a simple rewrite, it's going to come out to be the same either way. Now, when we finally get a log expression, we'll just go ahead and use our calculator to evaluate that. So let's go ahead and work sample problem number 2 and sample problem number 3. And for right now, you can just round to whatever value you would like to. When you're doing Math Excel, please be sure to check the directions in the blue to make sure you know what level of rounding you need. Okay, in sample problem number 3, we have an exponential on the left side, a numerical value on the right side, but we got a little bit more going on with the exponential, so we've got to isolate that first before we can start rewriting it as a log. So we're going to actually subtract 4 from both sides before we do anything. And now we can rewrite this as a log. Now from here, what you're going to want to do more than likely, and if you want to do all this in your calculator at one time, you can, or you can put log 1017 and change it to a numerical value first. Either way works. I'm going to show you the algebraic way here. So you could have gone all the way through and then just punched this final expression in your calculator at once, or if you'd like, you could have actually changed that to a decimal right off the bat and then just worked with a decimal. And my decimal, your decimal, be a little bit different maybe in the end. Alright, we'll stop right there. That's an example of the 2 exponential types. The next video we'll work on the logarithmic types.